Hewlett-Packard 46. It was a 200,000 square foot, brand new, out of the ground marketing facility that was going to house 5,000 HP employees. And they knew with this deregulation problem that they didn't have a contractor to put the infrastructure in for all of their telephone connection. And so I pitched that we could do it and quoted it, and we got the job. So now we're in hiring mode. Another critical thing that happened around that time is that the IBEW, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, is the union that electricians work under. And it's a national union. Well, they recognized, the IBEW did, that the CWA workers that used to wire buildings were now displaced. So they drafted a collective bargaining agreement with language that was specifically catered towards the telephone communication worker. And so we went and talked to those guys about signing that. It's called a letter of assent. And so we signed on to be a union contractor. And a reason for doing that is that we needed to get our hands on skilled labor that knew how to do this kind of wiring. And so we went to the hall and said, we'll work together on this. We need like 30 guys to wire this building. So that was a very critical step. The job started off at about $191,000. And when we finished with all the change orders and whatnot, it was about $1.3 million. We made a bunch of money. So now we've got our $200,000. We go to Cupertino Electric and say, we're ready to pay off the loan. Well, Cupertino said, you know what, we really don't need your money, and we see that this is a viable market, and we'd like to have a contractor that we could go to for these kinds of things as a sub. What do you say we incorporate you? And the way we'll structure the deal is you can have a 30% stake, we'll have a 70% stake in ownership, but when it comes to splitting the profitability, we do it 50-50. Well, we were early in a position to negotiate, and so we agreed to that. And so they said you can have the back of our lot, which would mean you're going to use our mailing address. And they had just moved into a new renovated building, and they needed a new, more robust computer or a telephone switch. So they had to get a new bank of phone numbers. They said, well, you take our old phone number. So here we are, Cupertino Electronics, in their old address with their old phone number, trying to identify ourselves and create a new brand. Horrible. Didn't work, So we took our acronym, which was CEI, and called it CEI Tronics. So when we incorporated, we were Cupertino Electronics, DBA, C-Tronics. So from there, we basically just kind of followed the whole telephony market and looked for more projects like that HP job. We found a few of them, we're doing pretty well. The problem was, well, let me kind of go into the next thing that happened. The next thing that really affected our market was IBM came out with the personal computer to compete with the Apple computer. And most businesses adopted the PC format over Apple for business applications. The problem was that PCs didn't talk to each other. So if you created a file on your PC and you wanted to share it, it was called SneakerNet. You would download it on your floppy disk and you would hand it to somebody and they could put it on their machine. Well, IBM figured out pretty quickly they needed a COM port on the back of their box so that a machine could talk to a machine. And so the whole idea of networking started to emerge. And so we were already cabling for telephony. Now we were starting to embrace the idea of cabling for computer networks. The problem was there was no standard. There was ThinNet, Ethernet, DECnet. I mean, everybody had a different idea of the way to do it. And so as a sales guy, I would go in and see an opportunity, and it was virtually impossible to flesh out the right way to do it because there was no standard. Well, luckily, companies like Cisco, they were creating servers and routers and all this networking equipment. They were dealing with the same problem. So eventually, the topology and the network configurations, they got standardized to what's called category cable. You probably heard of Cat5, Cat6, if you heard that term. That's basically, it was a common way of getting all these PCs to talk to each other. Well, IBM, being IBM, didn't want to go along with that. They created their own networking topology, and that was called the Type 2 token ring. Well, one of the clients that we had developed a relationship with was IBM South San Jose was called the Mass Storage Division. They had like 50 buildings down there, and we were doing a lot of work for them. They called us in and said, hey, there's this new network configuration that's come out, and